As a guru, it just is, this is just, it's so heartbreaking here to see people being taken in by such a con, that people are so gullible and want to believe this fairy tale nonsense, that they will run their lives and give thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, $10,000 a person, to go with him to Kailash. $10,000 a person to be conned. It just, you know, it's heartbreaking. Because what happens when they find out, finally, they awaken that he's a con, they want to turn their back on spirituality. Then it's all a con. Then everyone is a con. And that's what happens. And that's the heartbreaking thing, that people at that point lose faith in everything.
Yeah.
That's the danger. And it can really put them back in their spiritual search a long, long ways. It can really wreak havoc in their lives to find out they've been so taken in. Then they go on a rampage against other gurus that have nothing to do with his lies, deceit, and garbage. Then the other gurus pay the price for his ignorance and for his, for his drama. All the way around, it's not a good situation. So, I just hope that that eventually they get a judge in there that's going to do the right thing and not be swayed by his money, by his, the fact that he's got a number of places around the world and all this other drama. For God's sakes, can't somebody see beyond this drama? He's sitting there like a freaking king on a throne now. What's it going to take?
Well, these videos are quite helpful, or hopefully they'll be helpful. That'll help to wake people up a little bit out of this situation. So it's quite compassionate that you're making these videos.
It's just, people say, well, why don't you ever say the good things? Well, I do say the good things. But, when you see this and you continue to see this type of nonsense being played out time and time and time again, it comes a point where you say, enough is enough. You have to speak out. I'm not going to, put my head in the sand. You have to eventually speak out because it's just so, you just can't believe that people will be so taken in. I think there's been too much Hollywood. No, really, seriously. They've been so engaged in Hollywood and movies and the fake drama of the big hype with everything that they don't know the difference between the real and the, and the concocted. They don't know the difference any longer. Just like you get kids that are out there playing these video games and now they're out there blowing up schools. They've lost any sort of rationality. Really. They've lost any kind of a rational sense. So, I don't get it. I don't get it. Do people really need to see some guy sitting on a throne dressed like a Raja king? Looking down on everyone and telling them how, self-important he is? I'm so self-important, but, I don't really see the importance of it, not even when I discovered I'm an incarnation. I mean, just come on. If you don't see this guy is absolutely full of himself and absolutely deluded, you're living in a fairy tale land. You've been watching too many movies and confusing the movie and the spin and the hype of Hollywood with reality.
I was one of them, coming from some kind of a background like that. So it's like I was brainwashed or something, but whatever.
Well, again, yeah, same thing with TM. Now they have the Rajas. What happened? Oh, yeah, he's going to, for $1 million, you can buy enlightenment and you can become a king, a Raja. What nonsense. And all the things had to be bigger, 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 more hype, more fanfare, more stuff, and people get caught up in the fantasy. Just like I see so many people with this fantasy notion about India. They go over there and looking for, like Rishikesh was the place of the rishis, the sages. There's nobody sitting in meditation there anymore. It's become a big tourist trap where they're selling every kind of yoga thing, which has very little to do with genuine yoga or union. They're teaching hatha and teaching everything under the sun, and you walk down the street and om, now come here, come by, come buy all my stuff. When was the time of the rishis? They didn't have any big tourist trap crap there. And so people get confused with the fantasy of what was at one time, but that golden age has been lost long ago. Now it's become just another marketing tool. It's the truth of it. And to think that spirituality is found more one place than another, again, is such nonsense. Again, if they were so into the spirituality aspect, people would not be suffering living in streets there like they are. They would have taken the knowledge and done the right thing with it, but they aren't. They haven't. They've gone the way of politics and same thing. The ones at the top are lining their pockets and the one in the bottom get bupkis. So where's the great knowledge there? Where is this big, it should be an absolutely ideal land. A place to be looked up to. If people were actually using correct admonitions and correct integrity and things in these countries, they could make it a place to be looked up to. But none of them are using it. None of them. The sway of politics, of us against them, mentality, me first, and forget everybody else. As long as I got mine, and I'll give this illusion that I'm actually doing something and care and give a rat's ass about somebody, but they don't. Same thing with the thing yesterday about these kids that spent $3,000 to $6,000 to come over here to learn English on a so-called cultural exchange type program. They paid to come over here and work. They're given a job at minimum wage. Cheap ass labor. So they found a way to make it legal to import people and have them pay for the privilege of coming over here to be taken advantage of. Now that's lovely. That's so lovely. What you know. Well, it's okay because it's legal. It doesn't make it right. Again, you know, comes back to the thing I was saying before. The employers do not want to pay a living wage. And when these kids come over, some of them, they're told they're working in restaurants, they put them in a you know, strip club working. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Some of them are living in this hovel, you know, sitting on the floor. They've got to pay to stay there out of this meager, you know, same thing as here. You're on minimum wage. They still got to pay. And they've already paid the price to come over, $3,000 to $6,000 a person. That's a lot of money to be taken advantage of. So what do you think they're going to take away from this experience? Do you think they're going to be singing the praises of how wonderful a country this is? They're shooting, you know, these people at the top, these corporations, they are shooting themselves in the foot. And they're dragging everyone down with them just to secure the bottom line of cheap labor. It's terrible. You know, how much more is it going to take before people start to wake up and say enough is enough is enough? When are we going to get some companies that are going to say, all right, enough is enough? When are they going to start standing up and do the right thing? You know, just like you see when I'm driving through Texas, I couldn't believe I saw a sign that says we can still secede, you know, still secede from the Union. Let's do the right thing and secede. Let's please. Let all the Tea Partiers that don't want anything to do with government, let them have Texas. Let them all move to Texas, make it a separate country. But of course, you know, you don't want anything to do with government, so let's tear out all the infrastructure that's there. Okay? Start from scratch. You don't want anything to do with government. Then you become a separate country. Great. You're going to have big import tax and export tax because everything is imported. It has nothing to do with this country. You want nothing to do with here. You don't want to have to pay taxes. You don't want to have to do anything here. So, okay, fine. But build your own infrastructure. Or if you're going to take it, then you got to pay for the infrastructure that's in place. Okay. And who do you think is going to want to come and work for you? They don't want to give any kind of benefits. They want to find every loophole they can not to ever have to pay for health care, anything. Because it's all about them. Well, you can all have your own country. And now what do you think you're going to do? You think anyone's really going to want to come and work for you? Let them have their own country and see how well it flies. You know, this nonsense. Then they won't be able to compete in the wars anymore and pay their cronies, you know, that are going to privatize anything for the military, $200,000 for a toilet seat. That's not going to fly anymore because you're not going to have the government to hide behind to do these things. You know, just such nonsense. When are people going to wake up to see what's out there? The spin that these people put on, and just, again, the special interest groups, they feed on this stuff of, you know, the government. They feed on it. They use it as a hedge. They use it as a blind, you know. What would they do if it was actually gone? And they were all seceded from the Union in their own little country of Texas or whatever. They could have Texas and Alaska, whatever, you know. Let them have their own space. I think it would be a great thing for the country and a great thing for them. You know, they would find out that, you know, with this government that they want to downgrade all the time, they have used and abused. Okay? Blame all their ills on it. It's great when they're in power and they can abuse it. Then it's fabulous. Because then when we get out of power, we can blame it on everybody else.
Right.
Because it's so bad now. Look, they're the ones in power. They're the ones that are doing it, you know. After they've drug it down as far as they can drag it down. Just crap. Really, I mean, this country and all the countries in the world, you know, the people need to start to stand up wherever they're at. And begin to, again, see humanity rather than this, you know, than this oddball garbage and believing the spin that these people are putting out. Because the spin is ugly. It's not based in truth. It's based in, let's keep people in a fear mode and keep them cranked up and wound up where they're just so struggling for survival that they can't see the forest for the trees. And we'll keep using these tactics of putting, you know, having them look another direction so they don't actually stop and look and see what's going on. They're so busy trying to keep their head above water, and we keep so much of the spin in place that they'll never realize what's happening to them. And we can continue to play the power plays. And the few that are at the very top, that have all the big money, that are running everything, will continue to do whatever we want. You think slavery has ended? Really? I don't think really slavery has ever really ended. When you look at the disproportion of what's at the very top and what's at the bottom and how they're abusing the people. I mean, you come here in Florida, and when I first moved here, my mouth just fell open when you're driving down and you see the wealth. How can anybody have that type of wealth? I was absolutely amazed. And you see mansion after mansion after mansion after mansion after mansion, yacht after yacht after yacht after yacht after yacht. Who can live like this? And why would anybody want to live like this? Why does anybody need a mansion with 30 rooms?
That's just one mansion. They have other, like...
Right, three, you know, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast, and another in New York. Yeah, that's the common thing. They have at least 3.
Yeah.
And one can't even imagine being in one. Why would anybody need that big of a place? Why would anybody need a yacht with a full-time staff on it? That cost, you know, more than I will ever see in 10 lifetimes. Just for that one yacht. You know, or that anybody will ever see. You know, it's amazing. You know, when you see what's out there, that there is wealth out there, and that it's so abused. I know the other day somebody saw the video where I'm arriving in the car. Oh, and you're in a $50,000 car, and here you are preaching that. Well, no, it's not a $50,000 car. It's a used car. The car is a used car, and it didn't cost any more than my Toyota did. So, you know, again, people's perception is vastly skewed. You know, vastly skewed. So, again, people, you know, think that, think that there's a ton of money here. Well, there's no big, huge organization here. There's just not. It's not. Just such nonsense. Nonsense. I hope that humanity starts getting a clue and starts waking up.
Yeah.
That's all.
Once these big mansions, I mean, it's so terrible is that they're the ones, many of these people are paying these slave wages.
Well, exactly. That's exactly it. It's the bottom line. They don't care about the workers. You know, it used to be in the old days that the workers were like a family, and they took care of each other, and they genuinely cared about each other. And there was some sense of camaraderie, you know. There was some sense of you know, really wanting to see the company succeed, and because when it succeeded, you know, everybody benefited. But not anymore. Now it's the workers are dispensable. They're a dime a dozen. Doesn't matter. The only one that matters is here.
Yeah.
My bottom line and how many mansions I can accumulate. And they're so out of touch. They don't know what it's like to try to live on a minimum wage, these ones that are in these mansions. They have no clue what it's like to struggle day after day after day just to get food on the table. They have no clue. Like Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. What do you mean they're starving in the streets? Let them go have cake. I mean, you know, what do you mean they want bread? You know, there's so much wealth. What's wrong with these people? Well, it's not. You know, if they had to live like that for a month, 2 months, you know, challenge themselves. Let them go out and live a minimum wage job. Let them take it for a couple months and see what it's like. Let them get the reality check. There needs to be a reality check of what's really out there and the harm that they're causing by being so absolutely greedy. And, you know, they blow it off and think, well, I give to this charity and that charity. I'm helping humanity.
That's not it.
But they're not. You know, they're not. You know, charity begins, they say charity begins at home, but be charitable to the ones that are working for you, for God's sakes. Be charitable, you know. How much profit does one need? And until people start to get some ethics and see humanity, that these are my brothers, these are my sisters, you know, that I have some sort of responsibility. I'm in a position where, you know, I should have some sort of responsibility. Rather than, oh, well, what do you mean? You know, they should be grateful they have a job. You know, look what I'm providing. Yeah, minimum wage. And they have no clue what it's like to try to live on minimum wage. It's just, you can't. You can't have your barely, you know, you're not even at poverty line at minimum wage. You're under poverty. So it's really time for people to get a wake-up call, because they have no respect for others. They just don't. They're so ego-centered and wrapped up in themselves. that unfortunately mankind is paying the price. And this is why it's time for, corporations and for these people to start making some changes. Don't just say, oh, I'm green and I give to this one and I give to that one. And then you got, underneath of it, you see that they're doing these types of things, hiring these exchange, under the guise of them coming to have a cultural experience. Yeah, welcome to this culture of being basically an indentured slave. That's wonderful, and you pay, $3,000 to $6,000 for the privilege of being abused. It's great. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. This is not going to serve the world. This is not going to serve humanity. This is not serving anyone.
Right.
I was ready to boycott Hershey's, but then I found out it wasn't, it's not Hershey's, it's one of Hershey's vendors that is doing this hiring, bringing exchange people over. And that's not the only one. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is a real big thing, that needs to be looked into. I mean, it's terrible. But it was one of the vendors that is working for Hershey's in a warehousing, moving the candies and all of that, that's doing it. And again, it's they're dragging Hershey's name through the mud because of their practice, because of their lack of humanity, trying to get the bottom line, So again, things need to change. It can be changed, but it has to begin wherever one's at, Start having some more, openness for change. Be willing to step up and to say it's not all about the bottom line of money. Money does not, bring happiness in the end. I've seen the most screwed up people that you ever meet are some of the wealthiest. They have absolutely, especially children that are born into wealth. They have an entitled view for everything. They're never happy because they've never had to work. They've never had to, just everything needs to be handed to them on a silver platter. They don't have any sense of values. Very skewed sense of what it is. They don't know what it's like to actually have to live in a typical world. They have a skewed view. They don't know. They grow up spoiled. Give the kid whatever they want, keep them quiet. I was watching a thing on Tyra the other day where these moms are telling these girls, you marry for money. That's it. Little girls. Bottom line is the money. Make sure you get the money. One woman even told her daughter, oh, this boy wants to talk to me. Well, he can't talk to you unless he gives you a cookie. He's got to give you something first.
Start training from the beginning.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's all about money. All about money, that's it, bottom line. What does this breed? What type of a mentality does this breed? What does this say when you have a culture and it comes down to it's all about the money? It means we've lost our humanity. if it was genuinely being humanity, if there wouldn't be this disproportionate, thing. And this country is becoming like a third world country. Those at the very top have a lot of wealth, and they're trying to make that divide greater day by day. And people aren't seeing it. People aren't getting it. And if they did get it, I trust they would never again vote to put Republicans in that have this attitude. They want to say, well, we're bringing jobs. If we get all these tax breaks, all this stuff, we're bringing jobs. No, they don't. That's the fallacy. They are not making jobs. They don't care about the workers. They don't care about humanity. They care the bottom line and how to manipulate the system and manipulate, the people here with dangling these carrots all the time, which one never gets. They keep dangling these things out there. Don't you want this? Look, Then they have no intention of ever, giving it. They have plenty enough wealth that they could start to expand and give some decent wages. But they're not going to do that. So again, it's at the time people need to really wake up out of these fantasy notions across the board, of wanting to see, like ones like Nityananda that are the Grand Poobah, thinks they're a king sitting there, and I'm I found out I'm an avatar. I found out I'm an incarnation, Does one really need to have that kind of a fantasy role model that you can, what's he going to do for you? What's he going to do for you? What do you hope to get from that? Is he going to save you? I mean, this is, the makings of a cult. When somebody comes up there and says, yes, I'm a divine incarnation. I'm God. Let me save you. No, you have to find that you're already saved. That's already within your own being. This is why it's such crap when they say I'm a divine incarnation, I'm this, I'm that. When I found out I am this, then all of a sudden it's become like this. And this is why he uses and abuses those women. He has absolutely no thought for them whatsoever. He's only thinking of himself. And he will use and abuse and throw away when it suits his purpose. And he'll see nothing wrong with it. Okay? See absolutely nothing wrong with it. This is heinous. Okay? There's, again, a vast difference between when all falls away and there's only that God essence, and one sees it's the same within all humanity, no matter where they are. There can be ever no difference, and saying, I'm a divine incarnation. I found out I'm a divine incarnation. So I'm going to sit on my throne, and I deserve to have a gold throne, and I deserve to have all of this. Just look at what I am. And if you're lucky, maybe I'll share a miracle with you. If you're lucky, maybe I'll show you something, because, you could never hope to be where I am. I mean, really, that's the persona that it projects. All in this thing if I'm going to give you something, because I'm in the power where I can give something. And so you better be nice to me if you want me to give you that, if you want me to share that with you. Just such nonsense. Such nonsense. People so lacking in themselves that they have to gravitate to something like that, some show like that. Are they so lacking in themselves? Because I got news. He breathes the same breath that you breathe. We all breathe the same breath. We all come from the same life. We all go to the same death. That's it. So yeah, I just hope that, again, it's time. I don't know how many times I can stress this. It's time for humanity to wake up, and it needs to happen on all levels of society. And get rid of the superstitions, get rid of the fears, get rid of the drama, and to start to care about one another in a genuine, beneficial way. Now, before people come back on me and say, you're not caring, you're not being a friend, you're not... Yes, I am being a friend, because I want to try to get people to not be taken in by these drama kings that are sitting on their thrones and ivory towers and looking out and looking down on others, while all the while proclaiming that there is such a benefit to others. They're not being a benefit. Really, they're not. So anyway, namaste, good morning.